Hello, everyone. So today I have a pretty cool build for you all. I asked probably a couple months ago on a poll on the community tab what types of builds you would like in your game. And one of the responses was an apartment building for high school years. So today, I bring you an apartment building using just the high school years pet and base game. I really love how this turned out, and I'm hoping you guys will download it and check it out. I actually based this apartment building on a building that is in Marquette, Michigan. I have seen this building personally, and I absolutely loved it. It looks like it's just an old, like, maybe mining factory that they, factory that they turned into a apartment building. And I thought it was fitting because if you know anything about Marquette, Michigan, it is located in Iron Country. Or not Iron Country, sorry, Copper Country. I know what I'm talking about, I promise. I'm from Michigan, okay? But it is in Copper Country, and it's located in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, also known as the UP. And I just thought it was, a very fitting build for the high school years world, as world is based on a mining town. So, yeah, so I thought it would work. I did try to do something a little different originally, and scrapped that and went with my first thought, which was this one. And yeah, I'm happy I did. It fits the world well. It looks good from the map. It's just a fun build. So I will say that trying to use just high school years and base game to create livable apartments was a challenge. I struggled a little because, base game needs some more stuff. Just saying, Sims team. At least maybe some more recolors, a couple more bed options, something like that would be great. But in combination with high school years, I was able to create some pretty cool apartments. At least that's what I think. Now, I will say this is a smaller lot, but to me, this kind of screamed there was probably a factory here at one point. So, or there could have been a factory here at one point. So I thought this would be the best spot to put this build because I wanted it to look kind of like an old factory that had been redone to have apartments. So I am uploading this as just a regular build. I'm not going to do it as a residential rental build, just because it's, it doesn't have anything from For Rent in it. So that way you can download it and use it as you see fit. But it's pretty easy to, add the apartment capabilities to it. Also, in the hallway on the bottom floor here, you'll see some garbage cans. I was actually picturing that area as also including the mailboxes, but you can't do that if it's not a residential rental. So, yeah, you have to have the For Rent pack to put those mailboxes in. At least the ones that make sense. Or apartment, or city living, sorry. So, yeah. But that's just an idea if that's kind of what I was thinking for that space. All right, so I do want to apologize as my cat is back again this week, wanting attention. He's feeling much, much better, and now he just is attention starved. So every time I pull out this microphone to record, he comes over and has to be right next to it. So again, if you hear meowing, purring, a bang from my microphone falling down, that is from my cat. So if you want to see a picture of him, I have one on the community page. So he's one of mine. I have two. The other one doesn't bother me quite as much, but when she does, she is very vocal. So, there's that. All right, so back to the build here. This first apartment, I just kind of pictured as a starter apartment. So, kind of basic, kind of a, somewhat mix of things. You've got some stuff that looks kind of older and maybe they picked it up at a, Goodwill type thing or, flea market, thrift store, all that fun stuff. I'm going to say the bed they brought with them from, their parents' home and just kind of, that type of setup. I do want to say curtains again every time. We're just going to say curtains, base game, we need more. And I'm going to leave it at that. So, yeah, the curtains are the best in this pack because I didn't want to use the high school years curtains on every window. But I think I managed to figure out pretty well. Okay, so for the second apartment, I went for a more industrial look. I also decided with this one to create a kind of open office space. So the little area in the back corner there is an office. I've seen a lot of apartments that have that, where it's just kind of an open room for office space. Absolutely love that idea because I'm someone who works from home and currently my office is my dining room. I do not have a dining room table. I have desk. So that's kind of nice. I like that idea. When I do apartment hunt again next, I'll probably be looking at either a 2-bedroom or one with like a little office space like that. As I said too, I did go for the industrial look with this one with some, fun little high school years accents thrown in. So a lot of base game in this part of the build. But I like it. I thought it was cool looking. I debated about making all of the apartments exactly the same and decided against it. So my thought was maybe some of these rooms existed in this factory already. So they kind of broke it up that way and created these cool little livable spaces. And yeah, I like the differences in them. I like how, everything's, each apartment has its own unique kind of design or flavor, if you will. So, as you can see here, just kind of cluttering up that office a little bit. I tried not to put too much in here because, again, if you have other packs, you're going to want to put other things in here. So I did try to keep some room for that, but it's still very playable, very, very done if you don't want to do anything to it at all. Now, I will say, in one of my save files, my legacy that I'm playing on my own right now, I put this in and then added like the debug, like note board from City Living. Not even sure if call it a note board, whatever. I added that in because I thought that would be fun. I did add in the mailboxes. and, a couple other little things, but most of it I just kept the same. I wasn't planning on moving a sim into here, but I wanted it in my world. I like having the apartments because it allows more sims to live in certain areas, and I thought this world is very like empty feeling. So I now have this apartment, and then I did do another apartment build in this world. It was a multi-pack build, and that one is over kind of in the main town area. I'll link to that video up above here, and you can check that out. So yeah, so I like putting these apartments in just to kind of make these worlds have a few more sims in them and hopefully feel a little more alive. I also do use MC Command Center to make it so I can have more sims in my world. So that's nice. So it's useful to have these apartments. Now, that being said, I did try to put little desk areas in a few of these, as I also see that in apartments. And yeah, I thought that was a good idea, just kind of like these little built-in desk areas. I also just tried to make a couple of these look like it's, younger people. I guess I went more from the vibe of maybe like this apartment is possibly a young mother, artist, or possibly a sister who now has their sibling, due to whatever circumstances. But that's how I designed this one. So it's more of a little bit more of an artist type vibe in this apartment, and I really like it. I think it's just kind of unique and fun. That's one reason I like doing apartments, is I can make each one kind of individual to specific types of sims. So if you have one that's an artist, this would be an apartment for you. That being said, though, doing it with only 2 packs is difficult. So I reuse a lot of the same things, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. It works. So in here, as I said, I kind of pictured this as either a single mom with a teenager, or, a sibling, older sister with a younger, teen sister. So that's kind of the vibe here. It does work, of course, for roommates as well. So a lot of these apartments I kind of designed, as I said, with like maybe a younger group involved. Now, there is one for sure that I designed with an older person in mind. And I can't remember if it's the one above this one or the one next to this one, but one of them is designed with maybe the thought process of grandparent has grandchild, so when we get to that, I'll point it out. All right, so here, as you see, using, the same bed again, just trying to use them in different color schemes, and then finding ways to kind of decorate and make it look different from everything else. And I think I pulled it off pretty dang well. All right, so here I struggled with this kitchen a little bit because it's weird. But I finally kind of figured out how I wanted to do it. And it works. It's a working kitchen. You can do everything you need to do in it. It's fine. And that I like those challenges, because sometimes that's what you get in the real world. You don't always get perfection when you're building or remodeling. Most of the time when you're remodeling, you don't. So I thought this was very realistic. Okay, so this one, I believe, is the one I was thinking that might be more of the grandparent with a, teenage grandchild. Um, so I went with more traditional type furnishings and, stuff that looks like maybe they've had it for a little while, So at the same time, I mean, it could be trendy now. What's old is new, I've noticed. It is a very weird feeling to watch things that you wore in high school become fashionable again. That's all I'm saying. So it's funny. I will see one of my friend's children who is, 19 years old now. And she wears things that I wore in high school. And I will tell her. And luckily, she thinks it's cool. So, because apparently I'm awesome. So, that's good to know, right? So all of you young people, be prepared because in, 20 years or so, everything you wore in high school will probably be, on trend again. And you can be the cool one. So, all right. So decorating this bedroom here. Again, thinking grandparents, grandmother, grandfather, however you want to work that. So this is their room. And I absolutely love this bed. I think this is a versatile type bed where it could look like they've had it for a long time, or it can be really trendy and, updated looking, just depending on how you decorate around it. So absolutely love this bed. I also love this swatch. I think this is an awesome swatch. So as you can see here, struggled with a rug. Put in one I'm not thrilled with, but it fits the vibe, so it'll be okay. Recommendation, if you have other packs, replace it. Okay. But it works. So I kind of went with the brown and teal theme in here. It gave me kind of Southwest vibes, so I put in, this type of thing, and then I was like, no, I don't think I want, anything over the bed. So remove that after, changing it out actually a couple times. I paused the game at one point because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So, all right. So in here, I designed this as a teenage girl's room. She's also an artist. So in my mind here, she goes down and bugs the other artist that's downstairs. That's the vibe for this one. So yeah. So kind of created hers as kind of an artsy type, vibe to it, colorful, fun, and all that. Okay, so now that I said all the artsy things, now I remember I did this a few weeks ago. Now I remember I took it out and put in a gamer. So scratch all that artsy stuff, okay? But I know that was my thought process at first. I thought I kept this one and put the gamer in the other apartment, but it's not. That's what happens when you work on builds and then do some other ones. Yeah, I decided to put up the Love Struck build from last week before this one, so I actually worked on that after I did this build. So, yeah, bear with me as I forget what I was doing. It's all okay, though. So, this last apartment, I did more of an industrial build for, and I think it vibes well. I thought most of the base game cabinetry was a little too formal for what I wanted to do with this apartment complex. So that's why I used the industrial run quite a bit. And, it still works. I like it. I wish the cabinets were a little bit different. I'm not as thrilled with the upper cabinets for the industrial type set than as some of the other ones, but it is what it is. So, But as you can see, kind of decided to go one route with this at first, and then kind of changed it over to more of a, trying to do a modern industrial, I guess. So it's, a little more blacks, things like that to make it look a little more modern. This one is like a majorly updated apartment. We're going to say they decided to start here, and maybe they're going to work their way down and remodel the rest of them. But I did put a family in here. And in this one, we have maybe a couple with 2 boys. And so we have the 2 boys' rooms. And I do want to apologize because I hit pause due to my beautiful cat here and forgot to unpause. So I figured, it's bedrooms. There wasn't a whole lot to them. And you can see them in the photos, so I didn't try to go back and redo them. But I kind of went the vibe of 2 teenage boys and, either a single parent or a couple. And, they're into some different things. One is a musician, and the other one is kind of your sports fanatic. So that's the vibe for the boys' rooms. The master, really, I didn't do much with. It's small. It's got a bed. It's got a dresser. There's not a whole lot there. So that's part of the other reason I didn't try to go back and redo a whole lot. But it's very basic. But my opinion is they focus more on their kids than themselves. So they are, they spend their money on decorating for their kids and getting stuff for them and that type of thing. They're more minimalist. Their kids are not. Okay, that's my storyline. All right, so now just kind of going through and looking at, everything, making sure there's, some fun clutter. And then we have this last apartment here. And this one, I made a 3-bedroom and pictured roommates in this. So kind of thinking maybe college students, or very, recently graduated students, or possibly, graduated high school and moved out on their own, group of kids, group of friends. So that's kind of how I designed this one. And I ended up doing some different things with this. The kitchen's a little bit differently set up just because I realized I could do it. And I think it looks kind of cool. It, again, adds a little bit of a difference for the apartment than the others. And kind of gives that, a vibe of maybe this was a storage spot with different rooms in it or offices or something. So I liked how I ended up doing that, kind of separating it with that extra wall. It's not much when you think about it, but it really made a big difference in how the room felt. So I liked it. Right. So as you can see, I'm kind of making an eclectic mix of furniture. Just because, as I said, this is kind of your roommates. And I hope that conveys that it's like, they all brought in their own stuff. And it's kind of mixed together. So that was my thing with this. I believe this apartment has, I designed it for 2 guys and a woman. I believe that's what I did. Now, you can put whoever you want in these. They're pretty easy to, change up the look for. So, but this room, I'm going to say this person is maybe somebody who doesn't make as much, maybe doesn't pay as much in rent, so they got the small room. Originally, I was thinking of making this an office, but then I decided, no, I'm going to make it a bedroom. So, yeah, they get the small room. They get to, slide over in the bed. And, if they have company over. And yeah, so that's kind of the vibe with this room here. And I think I pulled that off pretty well. I think I got that point across. And then this one I made into the girls' room, and I like the vibe of it. It's it's girly but not too girly. So you could put anybody into this one as well. And I liked it. I think I pulled off decorating it pretty dang well too. It's hard to decorate for adults when you're using high school years because so much does feel like it's it's for younger people, which it is. But, at least we have base game. So, that I think helped with making it look a little more adult than not. So this last room, I decided to change out the bed I originally chose and do something a little different. So went with a little more of a modern-ish type feel, black stuff and that type of thing. Just to give it a different vibe from some of the other rooms I've done. So yeah, I think that turned out pretty good. And now just kind of finishing up landscaping and some of the backyard. You can see I put the mailbox out. And then just kind of wanting to create a small like outdoor space too. So this is me kind of playing with the lot here, figuring out where I can put things to make a little more room in the back so I can add a little bit of a patio space. So down here I decided to put a couple of grills and added this little like elevated spot for them just to create some interest back here. And there was, as I said, it's not a big lot, so I didn't have a whole lot out here, but there's a few things, a little table so you can come grill and then, eat at the table. The one thing I do like with For Rent is it allows people to come out and do things like that. So you'll see your neighbors grilling and doing things like that. So that is what I had in mind, is if you have For Rent and you can use it that way. But really, I mean, you could move in a whole bunch of Sims to this thing if you're not going to play in it, and they all have their own spaces. Could be interesting. But yeah, it's a cool build, and I hope you guys will download it and check it out. And yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of this one, and if you want to see me do more apartments that are base game and then certain worlds. I'm more than willing to do that, so let me know. All right, we are coming up to the end of this build, so you can see I'm just kind of doing the frame paint and figuring out a few little things here and there of how I want it to look and feel here. So I really do love this thing, and hopefully that didn't make you dizzy there at the end. All right, so this is the finished product. I really hope you guys check it out, download it, enjoy it. I'm going to let you go and look at the photos, and I'll be right back. so that is the build. I do want to point out the ceilings are weird. From what I understand, it might be a bug. Other people are experiencing that, so I tried to make them all. All right, so I do hope you guys enjoyed this build. Next week's build is going to be my reno of the park in San Martino. Oh my gosh, I can't say that. I'm still having issues talking, guys. But hopefully you will stop by and check that out. And I will see you next week. Have a great week. Bye now.